Hello, hello. I think, yep. Okay, we're live.
We sure are. Hi, y'all.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry, we're a little late this evening, but we're here.
Here we are.
Had to do some last-minute arranging and plugging of things, so.
Somehow that's new to us.
Yeah, right. True.
Now we were doing important business stuff. We're important people doing important things.
Okay. So I think today we're gonna hop into Blender a little bit again and teach Cory some things about Blender. So super excited so he can make his own music videos.
Oh man, we'll see.
So I'm gonna set this up where we should be able to see both of our screens at the same time. So if I go to our, let's see. So I've got this setup where you can see, open Blender here. You should be able to see, this is the control room streaming, or I guess it's not the streaming PC, it's the sharing PC. And then I should be able to switch this between Cory's. So here's Cory's and here's mine. So let's see if I can put these together. I'm going to duplicate one of these. Duplicate. This will be two-shot with both PCs. So you can get so fancy when you have control over each source. Both PCs. And now I'm going to have Cory's here. Do you remember all your controls?
You know I do. No, I probably hardly any of them. I know enough to do this.
So let's see. Maybe I'll put Cory's down here and then have, if I add in another scene, you can nest scenes inside scenes, which is super useful.
Sweet, this is like the NDI way, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. So I want my control room PC to be in here too. I can bring that in. I can layer these. Let's do Cory's down here in the corner. Although I want him to be able to see what I'm doing.
That's me in the corner.
Yeah. So right now it should just be showing, maybe we can go like this. It's not the most precise thing in the world, but it should work. I don't know, that's gonna be pretty small. It is kind of hard to put two screens right next to each other. They end up being pretty small, but if you're watching on a phone, I apologize. It's probably gonna be kind of hard to see what's happening. But, so if I transition to this, there we go. So now you should see mine, and Cory can sit on top of his little screen over there. So you can watch what Cory's doing. And I can, for close-ups, just switch between these two here, so I can transition between. Oh. I guess you already see mine full, like a full shot, so I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Anyways, so yeah, in our classes lately, we've been doing creating these characters, and I know we went through the process of making a character last time, and I think we just did it totally by scratch, huh? We didn't really. We just had you build a character that was like.
I think I sculpted from scratch. Yeah.
Oops. So we've been using this other method that's kind of like, kind of related to like making a stick figure, like just drawing a stick figure, because it's very simple like that, but you can actually get some really nice results out of it. So this technique is like super helpful for like blocking out characters and things like that. So this is what we've been doing in class. So if any of our students are watching, this is a great way to get some extra inside tips on how to do this. So let me set up my screen here. Okay, cool. Yeah, so the first thing we're gonna start with, Cory, is making our cube here into one vertex. Because for this method, we only actually have to draw, like I was talking about a stick figure, we only have to make vertices and lines. So if we go straight into edit mode, so if we hit tab on our keyboard, yours might by default go straight into edit mode. You can bring up this radial menu, it's like a setting in here. If you go, I like the radial menu the best just because it's like convenient to just have all of them there. So if you go into your preferences and down to key map, you can turn on tab for pie menu, which is pretty nice.
Hungry.
So yeah, then you get your pie menu, and that's a lot easier you can go to all the different modes. So in edit mode, where you can select all your different points, you want to make sure everything's selected, and then we're going to go straight to hitting the M key, and that's going to merge all of our vertices here into the center is what we want. So we want to merge it at the center. So it should look like it disappears, but there's actually a point there. It might be really hard to see on the stream, but there's one little orange dot. So if I grab it and move it, I can actually move that vertice around. So from here, just to make it easier to see, I'm going to hit E on my keyboard to extrude, and then pull that vertice out to make a line. I usually just go straight up, so you can hit Z on the keyboard. You lock it to the Z axis.
You oh, I've seen meters. How are you making it?
It doesn't really matter at this point. We can scale things down afterwards if we want to. So from this point, we've started. This will be like the leg of our character. So I just press 1 on my numpad to go to the front view, and I'm gonna grab the whole thing, box select it, hit G, and move it over on the X. It doesn't really matter. It should stay within the X plane if you're in the front view. So you can think of this as the bottom of your shin right here. So if we start to draw this out, we can start making that stick figure shape.
So you're you're extruding every time you do that?
Yep, just hitting the E button. And so I'm doing this on the other side of the blue line because I'm going to mirror this over. So we can right away add in our mirror modifier so that we only have to do one side. So if we go into our modifiers panel right here, which is a little blue wrench, and then go to our modifiers and do mirror, right away we could see that it's mirrored across, and we've got the same thing on both sides. I'm going to turn on the clipping setting underneath the mirroring option in here, and then if I try to bring this together, it's going to stick to that center point. So where that blue line is, it should not let you pass over.
Yeah, perfect.
And I'm going to build a little pelvis for my character, so have a little extra bone there. So
I'm already there.
Sweet. Okay. So then you can extrude up for your spine. You get a few, depending on how much you want to bend your spine. And then in order to do the arms the same way, you can temporarily turn off the clipping and do the same thing for your shoulders, and then down for your arms, your elbows. And I'm not going to do any hands or anything. I'm just going to leave it like that. But then I'll turn my clipping back on just to do the head, get a piece for the neck, and then another one. Did that work?
It's not letting me extrude this top one.
Oh yeah, so if your clipping setting over here, I turned it off temporarily.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, just so it won't let you, because otherwise it won't let you pull it away.
Sorry, I missed that step. Thanks.
Let's see. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. I'll be able to see what you're doing here.
So you want a neck bone and a head bone kind of thing?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, something's happening over here, sticky boy.
Yeah.
Little stick guy.
It's just gonna look kind of weird, but I'm gonna do it that way. Can you still see okay out there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so from this point, we can actually start to add some like volume to our character by adding in the skin modifier. So this one right here essentially gives him some skin, and you can see right away that it will make it'll add that volume. So it just takes those vertices and adds in. Yeah, there you go. Exactly like that. I almost always, right after, add on a subdivision surface.
I don't know why my models always have something going on.
Oh, has he got, something weird in the chest
Yeah.
there? So what might have happened is, if you go back into edit mode, you can turn on this little toggle X-ray button here up at the top so you can see through. And I bet you that your
There's like 2 vertices or something.
yeah, there might be 2 vertices. So if you box select that and just hit M and merge it at center, it might fix it.
There you go. Yep.
Yep, cool. Okay.
I had a feeling something like that was happening when I was like messing with it earlier. Cool.
Sweet. So I'll add a subdivision surface modifier here after my skin modifier. So the order of these does matter. So we're mirroring this one side, so you can see there's only really one side of this mesh, and then we're skinning it, and then we're subdividing it. So it does it in that order. If I were to like subdivide it first, it wouldn't it'd still be a block and it'd look kind of weird. So the modifier stack order does from like top to bottom. So yeah, at this point, the key to this sort of way of doing character models is to use then the shortcut Control A, and with that you can scale different vertices to start to like create a shape of your character. So using Control A on a selected vertice will either scale it up or down, and that's how you start to like get kind of your basic shape for your character. So this is a lot easier method actually than what we were doing before, as far as getting a base mesh down.
How do you get like the? Oh, is it that? There it is. And you said A key to scale?
Control A.
Control A, thank you.
Yeah. Or I'm not sure. Is that command or?
Well, we'll find out. Cool. Yeah, it's a command for on the old Mac. Cute. Yeah, I like it. Like the low poly thing, it really makes it clear how it's deforming the model. It's really nice. So this is happening at the node. So if I want to like give him a belly, I need to subdivide this, right?
Yeah, you can add in, like, say you wanted anything like that. You know, I can give him 4 arms. I could just extrude another.
Well, like, what if I want to just like make this, like, you know, like I have like I can make this thing wider, smaller, but like I want to make it wider in the middle here. Like, so I would like add a vertice here to do that.
Yeah, you can. So if you want to add like another vertice, you can like use the Control R, which is the adds a loop cut, and you can add more. It's
right.
You might have some weird. I don't know if you can scale on one direction. Let's see. Maybe you can. Oh, hey, you can. So you can just Alt or Control A and then scale on the Y. I guess you can do that, which I didn't know you could do. Scale on the Y, and you can just scale it out on that vertice. That's kind of good to know. I actually didn't know that. Control A, Y, scale it
Cool,
out.
because I actually want to scale this one. Control A, Z. And can I do something? Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh! So that's like. Not what I meant to do. Not what I meant to do.
And so I definitely recommend giving your character some kind of feet
Oh, yeah.
for later. And one thing you'll notice is you might see it, this little like this vertice that has a circle around it down on one of your like on the first, it's the first vertice that we made. That's the root of your character. So we'll want to change that to this like pelvis bone here right in the middle. And that we can change by just by selecting it and then hitting mark root on our skin modifier over here. And once we do that, you'll see that like circle will move to be at that root bone. And that will help us when we're creating our armature from this. We won't end up using this armature, but this is just a good practice to get into setting your root to the root of your character.
Something happened to this dude's mirror modifier.
Is he not even on either side?
No. That's weird.
Is your mirror modifier the first thing in the stack?
Yep.
Huh. That is weird.
It was this last thing I just did. Changed one but not the other.
Oh, when you set the root?
No, when I scaled this vertices. Now they're doing the same.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
That's super weird. What a funny, like a little funny bug or something.
Whoops.
Definitely, I don't know. I feel like there's still some kinks getting worked out on these processors, you know.
Yeah, we'll have to once we get there. We should try a render.
Render race. We should. Yeah, actually be interesting to like pop out of the same project and like race.
I don't. It's weird. You can't. It doesn't seem like you can scale on the Z. Nor will I scale on the Y. Definitely scale on the Y. Oops, I keep hitting Control S.
My fans are spinning.
Oh, there we go. Control Z.
I can't hear them, but they're spinning. My fans are spinning.
There we go. Some feet. That's looking like some good feet. So one thing I would recommend going as you're building your character is to add a little bit. I think we talked about this in the other character creation thing that we did, was adding a slight bend to your like elbows and your knees in the direction that they bend, so that when we add the other rig, it will help it know which way the legs will actually be bending. How's he looking over there?
Pretty funny.
Nice.
I like him though. It's good.
Yeah, it's like a super quick way to get some good ideas out.
Totally.
Oh wow.
It's like a mushroom head or something.
Sweet.
What's that thing from like Resident Evil?
Oh yeah, with he's got
the long head. Or I never played that game. I don't know anything about it. I've just seen the images of that thing.
I forget what it's called.
I
know exactly what you're talking about.
You could lie to me and say you did, and I would believe you. Oh. There we go.
Nice. Perfect.
Weird thing. Should I update my computer right now? I think I'm gonna pass.
All right, so in class we did use the like create armature button, which you can make an armature like out of these like lines and stuff that we made for the skeleton. Mm-hmm. But it's really not like, it's good for like previs stuff, but it's really a pain in the butt to animate, and there's a lot better rigs out there, which like the ones we used for the for our short animation. So we might as well just like skip to that and get because that's what we're doing in class next is adding the using the Rigify add-on. So, which did we do that before? Did we have you rig your character? I think maybe we did.
I think this is what was going on with my thing. You see this?
Oh, weird. Just too much scale.
Something. Yeah, I think this thing is very large.
Yeah, might just end up having to scale it down, and it should be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, these are meters squares, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think this thing is pretty tall.
Yeah, so the next step we'll be able to see actually how tall he is.
Mm-hmm.
So if we start applying some of these modifiers here, so we can actually, let's try this. I wonder if we apply our skin modifier. Okay, no, it does not work that way. Never mind, don't do that. Apply your mirror modifier first, and then apply your skin modifier. So if you go to the little drop down, and I would also just apply your subdivisions modifier.
So you say apply mirror first?
Yeah, do them in that order that they're in right now. So mirror at the top should go first, and then skin, and then subdivide.
And how do you apply it?
There's a little drop down arrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do I not have that?
Oh, you might have to, if you switch back into object mode,
Okay.
it should allow you to. There you go. Yeah.
Got it.
There we go. Sweet. So we'll apply all of those just so we have like now if you go back into edit mode, you'll see that we have like a completely editable character.
Right, yeah.
And what I'm going to do, just so I can change stuff if I want to, is select half of this character. So just go into front view and like box select as close as you can without selecting any extra vertices, and then delete those vertices. Now we might run in, like I'm going to run into some issues because my guy has some like symmetry issues going on. Which is okay.
This thing does too.
Yeah. So
We'll see what happens. Should I still do this?
yeah, that's good practice.
Okay.
So we can cut them in half, and then we can try to fix our issues here. So what we want to do is obviously, make this so that it lines up nicely. Probably the easiest way to do that is to just pull those vertices back that you're having issues with. So you see, like what I'm looking for here is where I can make more squares.
Right.
So all I really have to do with mine is I just pulled, this vertice was connected before. Mm-hmm. I just pulled this back, and what I'm going to do is if I add in a new mirror modifier and I can see the other side of my mesh, I can just turn on the clipping and extrude this, and now I've made another square here. Whoops. So I want to select all of those vertices where the 4 vertices, and hit F to fill that in, and that should make that should allow me to make 2 faces right here and completely like fix that geometry. So now he's nice and symmetrical again.
This guy's got some real issues.
Yeah. So a lot of those some of them you can pull over to like combine.
That one.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta turn clipping on. Yeah, it looks like this one can come. This one can come.
There you go. Yeah.
I got a little 5-sided space, but I guess if I can I connect that, and then is that possible?
So.
Oh, this thing's clipping.
Let me get a closer look here. Let's see. I want to switch over to. I guess I can switch.
I'm gonna fix a couple of these clipping things while I'm here. Like that's clipping in a funny way, so we'll go boop.
Oh yeah, you pull this back. Perfect.
So like, this is getting a little uncomfortable feeling. So I'm examining this character's crotch, trying to.
It's the glories of character creation, character modeling.
Spending a lot of time working on the crotch for some reason. But yeah, this is where I mean, it's a complex area of geometry for these things. There's a bunch of different, you have 2 like trunks meeting another trunk.
It's notoriously difficult to get the animation right, where it's actually like there's a lot of, I mean, like the study of topology, and which is the the whole like how your quads and stuff are laid out on your character is like a whole big thing. So like proper character topology is something that you can literally just study and like it's a whole. I guess I wouldn't call it really a science, but I guess it's
So
the study of
totally
topology.
right. So it looks like
Study
if I
of
can
topology.
connect these two things, then I'll get two squares on either side.
Yeah, so you're looking for squares. So yeah,
Right.
your vertices. So there's 4 vertices
Well,
there.
first off, here's one.
There's
like if that thing were.
Sometimes it's easier if you want to switch into solid view and turn off your X-ray. It might, or you can. It might be a little easier to tell what's going on.
Yeah. That's
There
right.
you go.
But anyway, so this thing's got like 6 sides. So if I subdivide it here, like straight down the middle, like it should turn into 2 squares, right? Like one, 2, 3, 4. You see what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny. Your mouse is still like in the wrong spot.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
interesting.
That's so. There's something about the scaling.
Yeah. But yeah, those ones in the very front, in his front there, where it's like the 4 vertices, you should be able to select all 4 of those and just hit F and fill them in. And should be good.
Cool.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
And then you can follow that. So that one right in the middle can get, you could probably actually pull that one over.
This one?
The next one down, the one where the gap is.
Yeah,
So yeah, that one you can just pull over. And the next one too, the next one further up.
There's something going on in here. Oop.
Oh, that should be okay. Yeah, that one. There you go. Yeah. There, and just follow it around. Yeah, perfect.
Closing up the buttocks.
Yep. You got it.
Closing up the buttocks.
And you can do the same on that one.
I'm gonna press F to pay my respects.
You may not want
Oh,
to
yeah, right, 'cause
get a
that's-
triangle there.
Right.
Yeah, you can just pull that one over. See
Oh,
how
yeah.
your flow is going?
Got it.
Yeah, see how the flow in the front here, it flows back around. There you go. And then that last one, you can merge. So if you select the one that's lower and then the one on top and just hit M, and then merge those at center. Perfect. Look at that. He's clean. Look how nice that topology is. Sweet.
Not a triangle, even though it looks like one.
Oh yeah. So this one you might want to. You could select those 3.
Well, it's actually these.
And then, yeah, so it technically, it's a weird thing, but you can just merge them. Yeah, perfect. There you go. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Looks nice. Awesome. Perfect. All quads. Nice and clean topology.
Oops, all quads.
Sweet. Okay, so now that we're here, like, since we did this, we can, like, fully edit our character. So if you wanted to, like, add any features to your character at this point, you can do that by just, like, adding in, you can do the normal extruding and all that sort of stuff. Anything that you want to add to your character. At this point, you can. So, like, maybe I'll give him some, like, interesting looking. So this is kind of almost like an alternative to sculpting, really. That whole first method that we did. But you can add in some vertices places. You can give, you can edit some stuff with the face if you wanted to. Anything like that.
So I was like hoping to like kind of like continue on with that idea that we had of like, oh, is it the skin modifier that makes it like, lets me puff them up?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So we've applied that. Yeah.
So
now,
if I want to like add fingers with that same notion, I have to add another skin modifier.
Yeah. Or you could, since you've got like.
Ooh, didn't like that.
Since you've got sort of some extra vertices there, you could just extrude those. So like if I wanted to have some fingers, I just selected that face. You can also go into face select mode if you press 3 on the top of your, so like not the numpad, but
You see what's going on over here?
Oh god. So yeah, when you applied the skin modifier, it applied to every, we were like just using lines before.
Yeah.
So yeah, it applied it to every line.
That's exciting.
The head is pretty cool looking.
I know,
actually.
it looks like pasta or something. It's
Yeah.
like wheels.
Oh, right.
The head is pretty cool. Whoa, the head is super cool. Yeah. All right, I'm already seeing how I could like totally have fun going off on just like weird geometry nodes. Like,
you can change, like you could make that small. If you were to shrink everything down, it would look like a wireframe thing. It might be pretty intensive because it's a lot of.
This thing is crushing my computer right now.
Yeah.
Or it's actually not crushing my computer. It's just crushing. My computer's got plenty of headroom. It's just crushing Blender. How do I scale this thing smaller? Would that help, do you think?
You can, so you have to take all of your vertices and scale them down if you want to keep it like that, but it's...
I don't really.
Okay.
I just want to be able to use this thing again.
Yeah, oh, you could just delete the skin modifier then.
Yeah.
You might end up crashing
I'm
it.
doing my best. Whoopsies.
Yeah, so if you head back into the modifier panel, you should be able to... Yeah, there you go.
Me out of that.
Cool, perfect.
So, okay, so if I want to just apply it to these particular things, is that a thing I can do? It's just like not worth it to do that workflow?
You'd have to make a separate object because it's like per object based.
Got it.
Yeah, but like if you wanted fingers, he's got some extra, like from those faces.
I can extrude the faces.
Yeah, like this, kind of what I did with mine. You know, I can, like if I wanted a thumb and 2 fingers, I could do something like this.
Totally. And so is that, how do you select the faces again?
You can hit 3 on the top like numbers of your keyboard, and then that changes to face select mode. It's also like up here on the top left of your viewport.
Nice.
You can like add some little fingers. Yeah. So like, yeah, this is the point. Normally you can't do this with the skin modifier, like you can't get like into the details like this. So you have to eventually apply it so you can make changes.
So 1, 2, 3, it's like vertex, line, and face?
Okay. Yep, exactly.
Got it. So, okay, quick one. So say I have this face and I want to just like, can I scale it? Can I Control A scale the face down or anything like that?
Oh, so in normal scaling, it's just S. The Control A, for some reason, it's the only time you use that is with the skin modifier.
Got it.
That's why it's such a weird shortcut.
Oh.
Hey, there you go.
It's a bad robot. Hey, speaking of the bad robots, Jay, are you a Futurama fan?
Yes, I saw what you posted the other day.
I'm so freaking stoked.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome. I am honestly surprised. I thought it was over for good.
I can't even believe it. I can't believe they're like threatening to do it without John DiMaggio too, which I think is really silly. Like he's gonna do it. Like he's not good. Like, and also if they don't do it with him and they recast Bender, I won't watch it. They're threatening. Did you see that? That they're like.
I didn't see that, but.
Oh, dude, they're like, yeah, if John won't do it, we're gonna recast him.
But there's no way he's not gonna do it, right?
There's no. That dude seems like he gets so attached to his characters. You know, like he still posts stuff about Adventure Time constantly. You know, and it's been a minute.
That's awesome.
Like, yeah, he seems to appreciate that people like care about his characters, and he seems to care about them too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I watched a video of him like crying on stage at Comic-Con, like getting all weepy, like talking about working on that show. You know.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
That's awesome. So you know you love your job.
Dude, for real, yeah, you know. Anyways, yeah, let's fix these little funny little booties this thing's got.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, I usually just like end up flattening the vertices on the bottom. So if you select a few, if I go back into edit mode here, so I've got like just the pad of the foot selected. If you scale and you only scale on the Z, you can like flatten something out to like be flat with the floor. I use that all the time.
Oh, yeah, hey, look at that. feel like this character looks like a Steven Universe character right now.
You can also always use your proportional editing tool up here in the top if you turn that on. If you want to make some like larger edits to stuff, it can be useful. This little like target looking one up at the top. Okay. Then when you click and drag stuff, it kind of has that fall off to it, so you can like.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if this is hairdo or horns.
That's actually exactly what I needed to deal with this thing that I was just trying to do. So thanks, Jay.
Yeah, it's always a really useful tool.
I wanted to pinch off their little ankles here.
So let me know once you're ready and we'll move on to the rigging step.
Yeah, I'm not going to get too precious about this thing. I feel like what's going on with this head is too complicated to try and do it. I'd have to like rearrange its head to do anything with it. So I think I'm gonna call it I might call it pretty good with this. Actually, those legs were cooler before. Chonker legs, I like them.
Yeah, so like with sculpting, like you kind of just make a random shape, and then it's like, oh, okay, I'll just go with that, and you like can come up with something that's a lot easier than doing it completely from scratch, because it sort of gives you something to start with, and you can kind of
totally, yeah, it was like a lot faster than trying to like build it up from the ground. Mm-hmm. So, and I like the idea of like using the lines to like sketch the general plan of the thing before you get it.
Yeah, so you could do the same with like a quadruped, like a a dog, or you could do a dragon, something with wings, or so you could like full on do the whole base mesh and then come back in and apply everything and then go in and do the little details and stuff. So
it's kind of like that method of drawing where you start like the basic shapes and then you go from there kind of thing,
Yeah, exactly. So so once you've got something that you like, we can move on to the next step.
Let's make a move.
Yeah, so first off, we're probably going to want to enable Rigify. So in our preferences.
I just use the keyboard shortcut.
Oh, nice.
My favorite keyboard shortcut. I don't know why it took me like my entire life to learn that that's a generic shortcut.
Oh, for preferences?
Yeah. Command comma, everybody.
Oh, hey. So if we search up here for rig, we can find the Rigify or Riggify
That's an
add-on.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
just enable a checkbox. Anything else?
Yep, that's it. Now you can close it.
Cool.
So what that did is added in a new. So if we go to Shift A to add. And then underneath Armature, normally it's just the single bone, but it added in these other ones. So the one we want, though, is the basic human. The regular human has a bunch of extra stuff that we don't need. So we're going to go with the basic human. And this is how you'll tell how tall your dude is. So this basic human is like 6 foot tall. Uh-huh. So yeah, our characters are ginormous.
Hey, at least they're similar in height.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's pretty... It ends up that this is about how big they are. So we can just select our characters in object mode, and then just hit S and scale them down to generally match like whatever height we want them to be. I mean, if you wanted them to be like more like 7 foot, you could make that, or you can just match the armature there. Perfect. So one thing we want to do since we've scaled it in object mode is go up to Object and do Apply, and apply the scale. Just a good habit to get into.
Oh, right. Yeah, because I remember that like causing us some grief before.
Yeah, you want like if you hit N on your keyboard, it should come up with this. And if you see all the transforms, all these should be zeroed out. Yeah. And the scale should be all 1. So that's perfect. So now that we've got it kind of to scale, we can start going. We can go into edit mode and move our armature or our meta rig here to fit our character. So tabbing into edit mode, right away I can I'll turn on the X-ray so I can see through, and then turn on the, I'm up here turning on the X-axis mirror so that if I move, one bone on one side, it moves the other side. Mm-hmm. And then a new thing that I just learned how to do, actually, is the snapping tool has a snap to volume, which is super useful. So what we'll do is up here in the snap option, if we turn on our little magnet here, and then if we go to the drop-down menu, which is a little button next to it, there's a few options, and there's a snap to volume. And then with that selected, you'll see that if we grab one of these, it only works with the little joints in between the bones, but if we grab one, we can grab it and it will automatically snap to the inside of our mesh here. So if I grab these in front view, this is the wrist, here's the hand, it will actually snap right to where I want it to be, which is like inside of the mesh. It's super useful. I for the longest time, I did this by hand, and there was no reason for that.
So you have to walk me through this because I'm not really sure that made sense to me.
No, yeah. Okay, so you got your.
Trying to get this view option. Like I don't know why it doesn't like.
Doesn't
what
look
am I doing
like
wrong? That's not looking like you.
So I'm in the
like
solid view,
uh-huh.
And then if you now toggle on the X-ray.
Okay.
There you go.
There, okay.
Yeah.
There's wrong order of operations there. Got it. Cool. So then I've got my meta rig selected.
Oh yeah. So you're still in edit mode for your character.
Okay. All right. I need to be in object mode for the rigging.
There you go.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Now you can select your rig and then tab into edit mode with that one. There you go.
Okay. That's the like paradigm that I was missing.
The switching between modes can get really like. It can get kind of confusing when certain things don't work in certain modes.
Well, I think I just didn't realize that I had to switch out of that mode to switch to objects.
I see.
Or like like how it was handling that. So now it makes sense to me now. So you want to step me through that again?
Yeah. So.
Oh, by the way, this model's still mirrored. Is that cool?
Yeah. Okay, cool. The mirror modifier, it's the same way. So like if I was to go back into object mode and look at this, although it's not on there yet, when we apply our armature, as long as our armature is after our mirror modifier, the armature will work as if it's a solid object and not mirrored.
Got it.
So if we put it before, it would be like, oh, there's only one half. I'm gonna like mirror, and then it would mirror after we moved it. So that's where the order comes in. I'll show you later. We'll go back to it and check it out.
Okay.
But yeah, so when you're tabbed into edit mode on your rig here, you can start moving these around. And if you turn the snapping on up here, and I saw you turn that on. Yeah, there you go. And then switched it to volume.
Found that.
Okay. And then once you start grabbing like these little joints, the little balls of the rig, they should snap. You should feel it like try to snap to the volume of your mesh. There you go. Yep. It's working.
Okay.
So it kind of like floats there in the center, which is awesome. It's just what you want. It won't work if you select the whole bone. I guess it will. It will try to snap to the joint. So it's best to just grab the joints. The ones in between. So the biggest thing with this, a lot of these are pretty self-explanatory, like where they go. The biggest thing your Z mirror is up there in the by your shaders and stuff, where you can switch the view. It's a little like.
Well, I just noticed that it's not mirroring this rig.
Oh yeah. That's that option, or the X mirror. I mean, up in the top. There you go. Yeah. Now it should work.
Thank you.
You can symmetrize it afterwards, but it's easiest to have it do it while you're working on it.
Totally.
Sweet. Yeah, there you go.
And then this last bone's like a hand bone.
Yeah. So normally, you know, there would be fingers, finger bones too, but
Right.
sometimes you might have to turn your snapping off if it gets a little weird. But yeah, you could just do that to the end of. I usually do it to like in the palm, so like where the wrist would be, and then
I see.
kind of in the palm of the character.
Got it.
Yeah. So here's where that the importance of like having the bend to the arm is, because it's going to take this into account and say, oh, your arm is, you know, it's naturally kind of bending that way, so the elbow is going to bend in that way. Otherwise, if it was like if your arm was straight, it wouldn't know which way the elbow bent. Right. So that's where that bending is important. Totally. So like for these two bones here, kind of in the chest, they're actually to prevent the arms from kind of caving into the rib cage. So a good place for those is like kind of in the armpit of your character, or like right before. And it just holds that nice and like rigid, like kind of acting like a rib cage. And then
I think it needs to come forward too. Ooh.
Oh yeah, so your snapping might be a little weird with those.
It's cool. It's doing pretty good. I just needed to pull it. It was just his chest kind of sticking out, so I need to move it accordingly. Like looks like his like spine is not aligned.
Yeah, so the spine, that's one place to be really careful because these can come off like centered. So I recommend like grabbing it and immediately hitting Z because you'll only really want to move these up and down.
I get it.
Otherwise, they could cause some issues later on.
For sure.
And then you got the pelvis, and the hip joints, and then toes, and then the little heel bone. Then bend of the leg. Okay, and then the head. The only thing I don't like about this rig is that these bones aren't named like what they actually are. Oh, the spines are all just like spine 1, spine 2, spine 3. It's not like head, neck, you know, torso, whatever. They're kind of, so these two smaller bones are the neck bones, and then the very top one should be like the whole head of your character. There are, like one of these doesn't quite connect. I think the neck and the spine don't stay connected, so that's a tricky one to watch out for. Because sometimes it will get mad once we generate the rig if they're not like still overlapping. So
sorry, how do the headphones? Can you show me your?
Oh yeah. So.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Can you? Oh yeah.
Top one to the top of the mesh.
Yeah, the top one should be the biggest because both of our characters have pretty large heads. Oh yeah, you might have to turn off your snapping to do this part. It might get a little bit weird. Yeah, because it's trying to like.
Sorry.
So yeah, there you go. And that one should go from the top of the head to the base of the neck. So you might have to space out your spines a little bit more. Otherwise, you'll have a bendy skull.
Hey, this one maybe needs to come low.
Oh yeah. That one you can kind of put right there in the pelvis too.
Some tiny little neck bones in there.
Yeah, they tend to get especially with these big-headed characters.
Those dudes' little fingies. Come on out of there. Come on out of there. Come on out of there. Your poor fingies. That's looking better.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like this is looking okay.
Cool.
Like, oh, I maybe missed his ankles.
Oh yeah, so
On little tippy toes.
yeah, the little feet so kind of end up looking like this. You got the toes, and then there's the foot, and then there's this bone, which is the heel. So that kind of goes on the heel, but it stays like horizontal like that.
So this first one's a toe bone.
Yeah, the very first one. Yeah, you can see their names too if you check out in the top left. There's like that little white text where it's like tells you your view orientation and then your what you have selected. You can see shin and toes and all the rest.
Cool. Well, this is a pretty weird rig, so I'm feeling good.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so once you got it where you like it, what we can do now is generate the actual rig that we'll use. So this meta rig's sort of like a template for a more advanced rig. So we're positioning it to tell it where to generate the control points. So once we're done with that, we can switch back into object mode. And then if we go to our object data properties panel right here, the little green running dude, and then under that you should see that it's already up, the Rigify buttons, and all you gotta do is click generate rig and it should make you a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
So great, it worked first try. Sometimes it doesn't always work. If bones get misaligned somehow, it just won't generate, but worked the first time. Sweet. So right away we can if you press N on your keyboard to bring up your little properties panel over here, you can see on the very bottom there's your rig layers. So underneath the rig layers you can turn like some of these off. Like you don't need a lot of the torso, like the tweak bones are not really necessary at this time. I'll show you how to switch it, but there's some of the control points in here are for FK and IK, which we'll talk about. But if we try to pose this, if we go straight into pose mode, you'll see when we grab it, it's not actually connected to our character yet. So we need to weight it to our character, which we can do automatically.
That's in object mode?
Yeah, so in object mode, one thing I'm going to do first is we don't really need our meta rig anymore. So over here in our hierarchy, you can either hide it or you can delete it. Doesn't really matter. It's nice to keep it just in case, because then you can generate the rig again if something's wrong.
Yep. This is like keeping your MIDI files before you render to audio,
Yeah, exactly. So you can just hide it away and then it doesn't bother you anymore. Yep. So to make it weighted to your rig here, if you select your character first and then hold down the shift key and select your rig and then use the shortcut Control P, you should see the menu pop up here where we've got Armature deform and then with automatic weights. And once we do that and then go back into pose mode, we should be able to move them around. So I just grabbed the box there in the center, which is like the hips, and then if you grab it, you should, hey, that looks pretty solid. So this is the IK controllers are the ones that are like holding the hands and the feet in place, and I don't really like it doing it for the hands. For some reason that's the default. But if we select one of the hand control bones, so like this one right here or something, it should bring up a bunch of like rig properties in our panel. And then we can just go, the first slider is IK to FK. If we slide that across, you'll see that it will like stick to that other green controller. And then if we move the body around, it will follow that green controller instead of the red one. And that's what I personally like, because most of the time this is what you'll probably use is the hands will follow with the body.
Right. Yeah. It's like the hand. Oops.
Right.
Hands don't follow the feet.
Not typically. So unless you're like pushing something, or like your character's resting their hand on something, or walking on their hands or something like that, I don't rarely will use IK for the hands. So I'm going to do the same with the other hand, swap it from IK to FK, and then you can actually just hide the arm IK and the arm L IK and the arm, the arm L IK and the arm R IK. And then same with the feet, I'll hide the leg L FK, which is the green. So you can do the same with the feet, you can switch it if you want. If your character's like falling or something, or doing something up in the air with their legs, then you can make the legs follow the body. But we're just going to do a walk cycle, so we don't need to worry about that. But yeah, should be nice and bendy. And see, this is so nice because it just animates the legs moving for you. You don't have to deal with that at all. Sweet, yeah. Perfect. Some squats.
Yeah, mushroom man squats.
So after testing, I'm just going to clear my pose. So I just hit A on the keyboard to select everything and went to clear transforms and cleared all. And there's back to his default pose.
Where's that setting?
Underneath pose here. So yeah, you can pose and then clear transforms and just go to all at the very top. Yeah, there you go. So then he's back to his resting position. So now that we've got some nicely rigged characters, we can start our walk cycle.
Hooray!
So we've got all our controls here figured out. We don't got to worry about those. I'm going to hide my panel. I'm not going to use it right now. And then if we bring up this, by default, the timeline's down here at the bottom. Mm-hmm. So we can bring that up a little bit and see what we're working with. And a good walk cycle, we can kind of set our range over here. So let's do a 24 frame walk cycle. So that will be a good 1 second. So we're on, by default it's 24 FPS. So we can do a 1 second cycle. So what we want to start with, I think we've talked about, we've done some walk cycle stuff on the stream before. And there was one point where, I mean, it's all a matter of preference, I guess, but a good starting pose is your passing pose, which is where one foot is passing the other when you're walking. I guess I could find some good walk cycle reference here so we can check that out. Oh, what's new in Chrome? Walk
cycle references?
Is that new in Chrome?
Maybe.
Walk cycle. Let's get some references. So if we look here, we can see these are all for 2D. There's a YouTube channel that has some really great walk cycles references. This one here, that we can watch and see. So it's kind of hard to pause exactly where you want in YouTube, but right here, this is nice because it gives you the frames, but this is your passing pose where one foot is sort of up in the air passing the other foot. And we can watch this and see how the heel kind of makes sense. So definitely having references is always top priority when it comes to animation. But we can always, it's good to, you can record yourself doing the action. In the last animation project we did, we probably could have made it look a lot better had we recorded sort of a mock-up of what we wanted to do of ourselves doing it, and then
That's cool.
using that and animating it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we'll have to do that sometime later and showcase using references, because it makes it honestly. And then it speeds up your workflow too, because you're not left like thinking about what it should look like. You're like, you could do it, and you can actually see what would you do in real life.
Just make it.
Yeah. So what we're looking for here's our passing pose. So we can make, although he's facing the wrong direction, but we can kind of use this as a reference. So to make our first pose, we can sort of just lift up that 1 foot. So this is the foot that's closest to us. Now, if you do want to like switch this, so you can kind of, whoops, I did not mean to do edit mode. If I go back into object mode, I can turn off my X-ray, so you can kind of see a little bit better the depth. But the only problem is that the rig can kind of hide behind the model. So in my object data properties over here on the right, I can go to viewport display and then turn on the in front. And then all the little controllers just show up like in front of your mesh or whatever you're working on, so you can still kind of see behind stuff. So back in pose mode, I can see that this is my foot, and I just want to like lift this one up. I'm going to do the legs first and not worry about the arms or whatever they're doing. I'm just going to make this pose. And then that's pretty much it. I'm going to start with that, I think. Just sort of make our passing pose so we can check our reference. Looks pretty solid. Just got I'm doing a little bit further, like kind of about right here. It's like I said, YouTube is very hard to go frame by frame. I need to get a program on here there's a really cool like program specifically made for like analyzing animation and stuff like that I should try to get my hands on. Be nice to have when doing this stuff. But there's our passing pose. Sort of knee up. Looks pretty solid. This will be our first pose. We don't have to, we can come back and do the arms later if you want to. You can make your first whole pose, but sometimes you can layer it, you know. Mm-hmm. So once you've got that, you can select everything on your keyboard, or with A on your keyboard. Hitting I will bring up your insert keyframe thing, and then we can just do insert location rotation of all of our bones, and then we're good. So one thing we can do to speed that up a little bit is underneath this like keying option right here, we can set our active keying set to location rotation, and then whenever we hit I on the keyboard, it just automatically does that for us. So now what we can do is we can kind of we know that we want to end up back at this keyframe. Like to make a perfect cycle, we want at frame 24, you know, be ready to go to this next. But so this is the weird thing about the cycles, is that you got to like think like, okay, if it's playing frame 1 through 24, if you were to Shift D and duplicate this pose to frame 24, so you can just copy and paste these frames over. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see this exactly. So I selected that first frame, Shift D, copied it over. So the only thing is if I were to animate this, I've got frame 24 is the same exact one on frame 1. So I'm actually playing this keyframe twice.
Right.
So in order to fix that, I can either drag my first one over to frame 0, or I can drag my last one over to frame 25. It doesn't really matter, but at some point you'll have to have that extra like keyframe, because then it will be, you know, moving toward that keyframe, so you don't have a duplicate.
And this is because this is like we're going to interpolate stuff, and we're not actually going to do all 24 frames. That's the notion.
Yeah, exactly. Headphones are like really. These are so tight.
Feeling them today?
Yeah.
My ears are just destroyed, probably, just from the clamping force of these for so many years.
The nice thing is that a lot of this will be actually, we can use the copy and paste flipped tool since our rig is symmetrical. So if we go in here and we go to pose and we go to copy pose, and then so you can see it copy pose to buffer.
Where'd you find that? Sorry.
Pose and then
There's
copy pose.
So many freaking menus.
Yeah. And they're all context sensitive depending on what you have selected.
And then your screen's pretty small up there for me, so I'm like.
Oh yeah, let's see.
It's cool.
Okay.
It's just like if you click on it and before I look up, then it's gone.
Oh, right, right. So once you've got that though, if you go, so we want to go to the middle here. So our frame 12, and then we can do pose, and then paste posed flipped, and you'll see he'll switch and lift up his other leg. So it's super nice. One thing we'll want to do here is make sure we hit I to key that in.
Oh, yeah, okay. Whoops.
So once you paste it, yeah. So you can tell if your pose is held by, see that line before. See now that line that was there before went away.
Yeah.
Mine did the same. So like this line that's here means that it's like holding that pose between those two keyframes. So without that, it will be. So you should see him like lift up his legs. So now if we actually play this, you should be able to see the animation, and he'll like just kind of lift up his little legs back and forth.
Huh.
Oh, did yours get? So if you go to frame 12 and pose and paste flipped. Oh, you want to make sure you paste.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. And now there you go. I think. Oh, you only had your arm selected.
I see.
Yeah. So you want to select everything.
Oh.
There you go.
Paste, pose, flipped.
There you go.
I.
Hey, little dance.
Boogie down, baby.
So there's your first cycle of an animation. So from here, we've like kind of blocked out our starting point. So we can go to our in-betweens and start adding in the other extreme poses. I guess these would be more extreme poses. So the key ones here, if we look back at our reference, are like the fully extended pose. So like this one right here, where like both feet are making contact with the ground, but like he's on the ball of his foot, or I guess is that what they call that? Like one's the heel, he's on his heel.
The ball. I don't know why they call it that.
Yeah.
Heel seems more like a ball.
Right.
To me.
So this is our next extreme pose. So let's get that one in there. So this will be, and you gotta remember which foot is gonna go forward. So at this point, this is the passing pose, and the left foot over here is the one that's going forward. So at frame 6, I want to select this foot and then bring it down, and the torso is actually going to come down too. So this is like, if we watch our reference, you can see like you can see the lines here. He's at the lowest point when his feet are fully extended. So you can kind of see how there's a bit of like a motion in the pelvis there. So I'm just going to bring him down a little tiny bit, extend this leg out, pull this leg back, make this pose. So and then there is a controller right here that you can bend the heel, which gives you that sort of that rotating on the foot.
It's working.
Nice.
Sort of.
I'm gonna do that, and then I don't really need any for this one. Okay, kind of just put that there, and then select everything, hit I to key it all in, and then I have the first step there. So since I've got this one, I can copy and paste flipped again, and then have this exact pose on the other side. If I select everything, pose, copy pose, then go to frame 18, pose, paste flipped. Now, take a walk. Oops, I forgot to key it in, my bad. Pose, paste flipped, I, And back to the beginning. Da, da, da.
It's kind of got it doing a little bit of a step dancing thing. He's walking backwards, I think.
Oh, yeah. So this is to make a basic walk cycle. What it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keyframes, and that's it. You can go in and add more details later on, but yeah. So here's my extreme pose there. If you want to use that for reference. So the left leg should be forward.
Like this?
What bone did you move there?
I'm not sure. The downward.
Oh, the arrow. Yeah, you should.
Down bone.
You shouldn't have to. Oh, the down bone is the pelvic, the square here.
Yeah. I'm trying to. I guess like trying to get the rotation on those feet.
Oh, the ball, like the ball of the foot to rotate up.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so there's this little like arrow looking thing here, on the heel.
Oh, okay.
That you should be able to select, and if you rotate that, you should rotate up onto the ball of his foot. Yeah, there you go.
Oh. Got a jumper.
So if it does that, that usually is either, there's too much space between keyframes, or the first and last keyframe aren't the same.
I see.
There you go.
I don't know about that. That's not how my body moves. Yeah, you can really just like spend 2 seconds with this and you see why it's so important to reference.
Mm-hmm. You want to pull up the reference again?
I'm having fun doing a terrible job, so.
So after you've like added stuff, you can go in and add the sway of the arms or whatever. So if I look at this, so he's got I think it's usually reverse. So the leg forward, the arm, the side that the leg is forward on, the leg, the side that the leg is forward on, the arm should be back, is what I'm trying to say. It's kind of hard to tell because this dude's wearing all black clothes, so it's hard to distinguish which leg is forward. There we go. Yeah, so arm forward, so this should be right here. And then I'm also going to look in this view because I know his arms are out a little bit. And then, so again, take that, make this other pose, move this arm in, and I to key it. So then I want to make sure I take my copy pose and paste it over here. Paste flipped. There we go. And then I know that these are gonna like, oh, I did not key that. Pose. Paste flipped and there we go. You can see it kind of like holds up a little bit right there. It's not a nice like fluid swing through. We can How's that looking? Oh my gosh.
Trying to get a little swing of the hips in here. It looks like he's clogging. I remember it's like showing you videos of the.
Oh yeah.
It looks like full on like buck dancing. This is very silly. Silly indeed.
Copy pose. Paste flipped. There we go. So yeah, this is sort of the workflow here. There's one thing that you can go to make it a little bit smoother, although you have to get into the graph editor to really clean it up here. And that is to make these first and last keyframes linear. So you don't have to worry about this because or make them vector, I mean. Vector, so they don't like slow, like they were kind of slowing down and starting up again. So just a little thing makes it look a lot cleaner.
I don't know what my character's doing anymore.
Dancing? Looks like dancing.
Kind of buggying down at this point.
Yeah. Nice. That's awesome. Got a nice dance cycle going on.
Thanks. That's not what I intended to do, but.
So yeah, I mean, the more the more time you spend on it, the more, you can add in some extra, like I probably want to do, like go into pose mode here and like add some curvature to the hips. So he's kind of like moving more forward with his hips there.
Like swing, yeah.
Yeah, so like he's really sort of not just like his hips aren't just stationary. You could do like add in like a little bit of a curve to it too. So like there's this bone you could swing over, then make sure to key it in. I'll have to copy the pose again, copy and paste it over here. Pose, paste flipped, and key it in. That's pretty extreme, but shouldn't look too bad.
Man, it just occurred to me how annoying it must be to do like animation cycles for like weird tempos. Like, if you're working at like 24 frames per sec, or like, like you can imagine a lot of like tempos not subdividing well.
Yeah.
Like, you have your like walk cycle be like some fractional number of frames, or like you have to make it a longer cycle. What do you do with that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times like games and stuff, they'll all be they'll work in like 30, which is pretty easy to like divide into different, into cycles, and you can kind of you really can go kind of crazy with it.
But I'm thinking about like, if you have it divided at 30 beats per minute, like.
Oh, I see.
Like, right, so if you're trying to get a character to dance to something that's like 151 beats per minute, it's like,
right.
It's like every beat's gonna be like 30, or it's, it's not gonna, like, it's gonna end up fractional. I'm curious, I guess he's probably just like you, it's composited from a number of different shots and scenes over the time of thing. I don't know. I'm curious about like how this stuff all shakes out though, like.
So if you want to test out what the render looks like, you can switch over to your render view and add in some fancy lights and stuff. Add in a spotlight. Give it some colors. Make it brighter. Walking in the red light. The red room. You can shade them smooth if you want. You can always add in another subdivision surface, make them even smoother.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
I don't know how to do any of that stuff, but it's a good idea.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just like in your modifiers there. You can throw it in at the end and oh, did you apply your mirror modifier?
Yeah, I was curious what it would do.
It shouldn't do anything. It should still work the right way.
Yeah, it didn't change anything.
You can add some.
Oh, I didn't like that.
I wouldn't crank it up too much. You might end up.
I cranked it up. There's not too many settings between not too much and too much.
Yeah, it's pretty sensitive because you're like every time it's exponential. You know, if you subdivide it once and then subdivide it again, you've doubled. You know, every time you're doubling it.
Right.
So it ends up being pretty intensive, pretty quick.
Yeah. Hey, my fan's turned off.
Yeah, when you subdivided it.
Apparently. Cool it down.
Just gonna do this by hand.
How do you insert lights again?
Shift
Add.
A. Yeah, you can go into the add menu. Like one thing you could do to really like amp up your walk cycle is to add kind of a slapping to the foot. So see how I kind of like right now in mine, it just sort of gets to that point that slides back. So if you go a frame, so the heel makes contact there and the foot should like hit the ground, the next point. Mm-hmm. So you can add that in and just like insert that and then do the same so it slides back. And then do the same on this foot where it slaps the ground. And that should give it a lot more oomph. Slapping the ground there.
Yeah, it looks pretty authoritative.
It might be a bit more like...
And then is it like the linear versus exponential curves that are like making it feel a little stiff?
Yeah, there's some curve editing you can do, and it's pretty like... right now, there's not, didn't do a lot of polishing.
Right, but it has that energy of like kind of like instead of like you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
right.
Right.
Like he's kind of like reaching, like he kind of gets to the end of his thing, and you kind of like sense the it's in the hands. Like the hands seem like they come to rest.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like I'm just curious if that's tweaking the model more thing, or if that's just like a tweaking the curves.
It's the curves, yeah. It's how it's interpolating between the frames.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. So like you could really get into the into the weeds there and get it really detailed. Like this should probably honestly, there's some stuff more with the legs. Like a lot of times when we're walking, when we put our weight down, this should be kind of in front. We almost pass our feet like one in front of the other. So this should probably be more like that. And then I can copy this pose. And then paste it over here. Okay, split. There we go. Then I'll have to fix this. That's in the front. See how like wide, it goes wide really fast.
I'm just noticing my computer has 18 different temperature sensors in it.
Wow.
I can see
Really?
them all. They're all broken out right here in this menu.
Huh.
All 10 cores, the two GPUs, the fans have their own thing. The battery has 2 temperature sensors.
Wow.
And even like, yeah, that's pretty wild. Interesting.
So like here it's still pretty, probably bring these in a little bit more. Insert, and then I just want to make sure I copy this, copy pose. Or I guess I just want to paste this one here. Oops, shoot. Copy and paste. Go. Oops. Some weirdness going on here. Copy and paste.
I found something pretty fun.
Oh no, what did you find?
I found the wave modifier.
Oh. That's interesting. I didn't know it would give you that effect. Huh.
I just like immediately on inserting it, it just that's not the one I meant. It just started doing this.
That's awesome. I love what it's doing to his head.
I know. I can't believe that's what it's doing to the head. That's exactly what I would hope it would do.
Huh. That's great. Huh. I would have never thought. See, like, it's so weird. You can just add something and then you get those kind of results, and it's like, hey, that's
pretty funny.
The wave modifier, huh?
Yeah, I was like, I wanted to like do something weird as texture, but
yeah, you can go into your texture panel, but yeah, you found the weird, yeah, huh? That's really bizarre.
I just can't believe how floppy its head ended up. Like, I wonder how it decided that, you know? Oh, yeah, okay, here we go. Like, I'm here in the armature settings, and that's why it's doing that. I'm like, why isn't it like...
Ah.
Oh, didn't like that. Too many vertices. I might have done it, Jay.
Oh, did you?
I think I might have done it.
Oops. Did you crash it? So you can, if you lose it, you should be able to bring back a autosave.
Cool.
It usually autosaves.
Yeah, it might be. I might have just locked it up. Clicked the wrong thing. Even with Blender locked up, I'm still using only half my available resources.
Man.
Yeah, this is a sad situation.
They got locked up.
Yeah, I think I clicked this. I think I clicked skin, and I think it's just like trying.
Oh yeah, the skin one's really gonna, yeah, especially with that much.
Yeah, it's all that geometry. Unhappy. Let's see. Well, I can try force coding it. It's got a pretty robust undo history, you say?
Yeah, the autosave's usually pretty good about saving stuff.
Okay, let's find out how good, because I don't think I'm getting back in here right now. not on the time frame of the stream, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Boop. Boop. Dang that. Recover last session option.
Oh, so up in the top, if you go to like File and then Recover and then do Autosave, it should give you a list of all your autosaves. Yeah, so you can see like the time how long it last autosaved, and then you could just hit Allow. That's just the Rigify thing. So like to run the Python code. Yeah. Just like I used to ask.
Hey!
He's back. Yeah, see, it's usually really good. It's saved my butt so many times. That's really cool. Wonder what it does with my dude here. It's a lot of those I like really have never messed with. The wave is like, I don't even know. Yeah, weird. That's really bizarre. Like skips now.
Totally.
Huh. That could actually be pretty useful. Interesting.
Just to add that like a little bit. Like, is it deforming the mesh, or it's just like flopping it's doing some physics and flopping the armature?
I think it's just deforming the mesh because this is not a physics process. It's a... Oh.
What did you just tweak? What was that?
Along normals.
Oh dear. Yes, Jay. This is, okay, cool.
Here's your music video.
No kidding. Look at this beauty. Look at this beautiful thing.
What?
This is what I'm talking. This is exactly what I'm going for. This kind of weird. I want like a character who goes through a walk cycle. And then like, oh my god.
Yeah, really. You could even add a texture to it. Like you could add in the. You can make if you're on the very bottom. You can add textures, and you can do like a new. I'd like just do a. I think you could do. There's some default ones. Texture here, cloud. Like I could just add a cloud texture or like the noise texture. Oh shit! Oh man.
What? Okay, how and where and how?
So in your bottom, like in this last little modifier panel right here.
Textures.
Yeah. Then.
Where'd you find?
Oh, over here, like in your properties. So there's the other tab, at the very bottom. Kind of yeah. There. It's another one like the modifier. Like see how I switched to this? It's down here.
Textures.
Yeah. There you go. So then if you switch at the top, the type. I just switched it to noise.
Cool.
Whoa, yeah, you could get some weird ones. Yeah, this is bizarre. I've never really used this before. I wonder if you can feed it.
Image or movie.
Timing. I mean, you could feed it like a clip, like some kind of movie file, and oh wow,
That's beautiful. That's so good. What?
You can like have it move across to the character. These are weird. It's an interesting one you found. Huh.
This is pretty cool.
It does seem like it's like on some kind of specific timing. I wonder.
There's a time tab.
So you could change the speed.
Start position, time.
Dampening. Weird. Huh.
Oh, it's starting in the middle of the mesh and going backwards. Or going out.
Whoa. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's a fun one.
It's a wild effect.
There's the...
I kind of miss the regular wave, though.
Would be another cool one to mess with. There's the... You can warp to different objects. Yeah, the physics stuff is under this tab right here. There's like the ball with the little like orbiting thing around it. It's 2 down from the modifiers tab. And then there you can change, you can add like cloth stuff. But it's just gonna fall through. I don't know how well a lot of these are gonna work.
Well, this is some kind of cycle or something.
Yeah, that's cool.
My first bizarre glitch.
Yeah, the wave is really, that's an interesting one. I've never really messed with it.
I feel like my calling in doing this stuff is like messing around with, instead of like characters or like modeling any things at all, it's like tweaking geometric stuff.
Uh-huh.
You know, like I feel like that's where I would like and trying to do like generative things with it.
Yeah, I'll have to do some more research. Maybe we'll do a stream on that sometime. I don't do a whole lot of it. Just
right.
It's I haven't the new geometry node stuff can do a lot of this.
I saw somebody today on Reddit who made a node-based version of the donut tutorial.
Oh yeah.
So it's like fully like configurable. You can change the size and how many sprinkles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's completely node-based.
Geometry node stuff is super powerful.
It's really neat.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to mess with it a whole lot, but definitely something that we should talk about sometime. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well,
we got a couple weird things going in here.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I guess we could wrap it up. We're getting close to our 2-hour mark.
I believe so.
Goes by pretty quick.
Somehow this stream got longer over the course of the year.
Yeah.
We're just having too much fun.
Awesome.
Not a bad problem, though.
Nope.
Cool. Well, thanks for showing me this stuff, man.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Stoked to play around with this more. I'm going to save this weird guy.
Sweet.
Noisy mushroom man.
All right. Well, I guess we will catch everybody next week, and we're gonna start doing some like sponsorship things.
Oh yeah.
Here in the next few weeks, gonna try and get some like ending credits for our sponsors and stuff. And
for our new sponsors that we have.
Yeah.
Thank you, sponsors. We're gonna be shouting you out on the stream, sponsors. Thank you, sponsors.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eileen.
We'll have a nice list at the end of our video and our little like ending screen, and maybe do some like promos in the middle. So expect some funny commercials from us in the future. I think that'll be pretty fun. In all our extra time, we will be making some promo commercials. So
I want to like do like here's something I want to do. I want to do like a physics-based like MARZ bumper.
Oh yeah.
Like we'll make it like generate some 3D text and throw it in a room or something. It'd be fun.
Yeah, this would be pretty straightforward to do.
Yeah, I'd love to try it.
Sweet. Alrighty, guys. Cool. Take it easy, and we'll see y'all next week.
Until next time.
Bye.
Maybe.